Hello, sweet parents. Welcome to the When Our Adult Children Walk Away podcast. My name is Dr. Janet Steinkamp, and during each episode of When Our Adult Children Walk Away, I will provide my professional and personal insights, information and opportunities for your self-reflection and growth, tips and tricks to make every day count, and encouragement to keep moving forward. I'm here to help you dig deep and get down to the root causes so that you can find your way out of the darkness to a positive and lasting relationship. Grab your notebook and a pen, settle into your favorite chair, and let's get to it. In this episode, we are talking about the yin and yang of parenting. So let's start with the yin and yang, right? What is yin and yang? It's the Taoist philosophy. That's exactly what I'm referring to. And the yin and yang talks about opposite but interconnected energies. Relative to parenting, we're talking about the yin, receptive, nurturing energy, and the yang, which is more active, directive energy. So the yin and yang. So when we're raising our children, when we're bringing them up, we work to find that balance, right? How do you listen intently and still have a firm, protective role in their life? How do we set boundaries, enforce rules, and teach accountability, and still let our children know that we are supportive and we attend to their emotional needs and that we're nurturing people? So it's that balance between what I would consider the softer side of parenting with the stronger, more directive side of parenting. As our children grow into adults, that shifts. If we compare the yin and yang in parenting, the yin is more focused on empathy. It really brings that nurturing, empathetic part of ourselves to that relationship. The yang of empathy is authority. The yin of flexibility and the yang of setting boundaries. The yin of listening, the yang of teaching. The yin of comfort, the yang of correction. So we're really talking about bringing those aspects of ourselves and parenting to the relationship with our children. So why does this matter? Well, if there's too much yin, then we're being overly passive. We don't have limits. It's chaos. You take your dishes to the kitchen. Nobody takes the dishes to the kitchen. Be home by midnight. They don't come home by midnight. Those things slide. Our children don't learn boundaries. They don't learn responsibility and compliance. And compliance is a tough word, right? Because it sounds so militant. And yet, the world depends on people being compliant. Get your driver's license when you're going to drive a car. Get your license plates updated every year. You get a ticket. It goes on and on. Pay your taxes. We have to be compliant in this world. There are a lot of rules. That comes from a balance of yin and yang. Too much yang, and we're authoritarian. Authoritarian parenting often leads to fear and emotional distance. Both, too much yin or too much yang, play a direct role in estrangement. A balance in yin and yang really leads to the best outcomes for children, and the research backs this up. For decades, we've been studying parenting. You go back to Dr. Spock, and before that, there were other theories. And then you go into all kinds of, I remember in the 70s, love beads. And my dad and mom would have us sit in a circle on the floor, take our socks off, and everybody had to touch feet. Oh my gosh, I am not a touchy-feely person. It was traumatizing by today's definition. I swear it was traumatizing. But that was the deal. They believed if we all just stayed in touch physically and could look each other in the eye, that would lead to this kind of harmony in our family. And let me tell you, there's not a lot of harmony. You might say that we had too much yin. Yin is the heart, yang is the spine. Sometimes we see in parents where one parent is particularly strong and the other one is more nurturing. And so we can balance each other. Some people would say the heart of the family is the mom and the spine is the dad, that's the balance. I think that's a more traditional way of looking at the roles. And in our families today, we might have two moms, two dads. In any family configuration, The magic happens when you have a balance of yin and yang. It's when one is missing or one is dominant over the other that we can get into trouble raising our kids, in the sense that we don't prepare our children to be balanced in this world. And this world is complicated, much more complicated than when I was bringing my kids up when they were little. It's just different. Okay, so let's talk about the yin and yang of parenting adult children. Different animal here. So the yin in parenting adult children, still the heart, is letting go of control. It means that we remain emotionally connected, but we step back. We're no longer driving the ship. I like to think of this as being a parent partner. We're still the parent that will never go away. Our adult children tell us that they still expect us to be the parent. They just don't want us driving the ship. And that's okay. We need to find that role. To me, that means that we find a way to have an adult, mutual, balanced relationship where we trust each other to be honest, we trust each other to be compassionate, we trust each other to have the spine, right? That's another thing, yin and yang. And we trust that we have each other's back. So the yin in parenting looks like listening instead of instructing, accepting their independence, supporting their independence. And when they start to feel like they want to come back and be dependent, we hold that line compassionately, gently, with kindness. We hold that line, because when they become strong again and decide that they're ready to go back to being independent people, they don't want to feel like they became dependent. They want to feel like we stood them up, we held them up, we were their ride or die. We were right beside them. They can lean on us, but not depend on us. That's the difference. So the yin looks like offering support. It looks like trusting their process. Again, not our process, not the process, but their process. I know that my son needs to process through conversation. I know that about him. I love that about him. That's not me. It's not my style. It's not my process. I think, I write, I do talk about what's going on in my life with people. I don't depend on that for me to be able to process through something and move on. My son loves to process with someone. He also writes to process. He also, I think, spends a lot of time meditating, and he's a fisher hunter person. So he spends a lot of time out in the wild and nature, and that's a great place for him to process as well. He loves to connect and talk things through. I have to honor that for him. I want to honor that for him. And to be reciprocal in that, I also choose him to process through things. I don't choose many people to process through. He is one of them and at the top of my list. Okay. So yang, the yang in parenting adult children. So again, this is where we provide wisdom, stability, clear boundaries. This is the spine. So how do we be a spine to our adult children and not be domineering, instructive, controlling, lay down edicts or, either or ultimatums, that kind of thing? Those have no place in parenting an adult child. And yet, we know we need to have a balance. We provide a balance of the spine. So this looks more like, with our adult children, being a steady presence, being available to them. I have said in my career, 30-some years of working in higher education, medical education, coaching physicians, teaching communication, running colleges. Across my career, I've had a bottom line, a rule that if my children called, I took the call. Didn't matter who I was talking to. Didn't matter if I was presenting. If my children called, I took the call. And they knew if they called, it better be important because they wouldn't know what I was doing on the other end, right? So there are some bottom lines. And for me, being present means being available. Being present means listening. I have learned that I get distracted. I don't have the focus I used to have when the kids were little and there were 17 things going on around me and I could listen to them. And really, on reflection, I probably wasn't that good. I thought I was better at listening to them in that chaos than I really was. So now I find myself getting distracted and coming back and saying, wait a minute, I stopped listening. I know I asked you this question before and you answered me, and I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. I got distracted. Could you say that again? Owning it, it's just human. It's just human. And then refocusing so I could be present again. For years, I didn't take the time to do that, and it cost me. It contributed to an almost 3-year silence where I didn't know where my daughter was. Those things add up. It's death by a million paper cuts. Every time that we don't listen, it's a paper cut. Every time we can listen, process what they're saying, take it in to listen and learn, and then respond after thoughtful consideration. It's a mark in the plus column. It's a mark in the plus column. We need those marks in the plus column. If there's any distancing going on, if our relationship is on that continuum of estrangement at any point on the continuum, we need every mark in the plus column we can get. Okay, so the yang looks like setting boundaries. It looks like honoring boundaries. An example, you get a call from your adult child, can you watch the kids? It is okay to have boundaries around that question. I've watched parents get run into the ground, taken advantage of, taken for granted, and without any gratitude for what the parent is offering. The way to move that scenario into a boundary-based request and response is not when they're asking, at a neutral time, setting the boundary. Hey, you guys, I'm going to take this class Tuesday nights. I know, I'm so excited. It's going to be great. I mean, unfortunately, that means I won't be able to take the kids on Tuesday nights. And I'm more than happy to help you work out some other arrangement. I just want you to know on the front end, I'm taking this class. Tuesdays are off the board. Well, how can I help? And then if they call on Tuesday, you can say with full confidence, ooh, Tuesday, remember I have class tonight. The key to that being successful is that the boundary is not set at the time of the request. The boundary is set at a neutral time and in a positive, constructive, helpful way. That's not a difficult boundary to set if you have a strategy and you have a plan and you follow the plan. So that's the kind of work I do with people when we coach. It's really helpful and constructive to set those boundaries. So what's another example of yang in parenting adult children? Upholding mutual respect. We need to be mutually respectful. That means we have to have a spine. We have to set the boundaries that allow our adult children to know what we consider respect. And we need to probably first listen, ask, be curious about what a mutually respectful relationship looks like to them. This is an interesting example. This is one I really had to think about and I have to watch every day. And that is to be protective without being overbearing. So helping with real life concerns, like one of the kids I think has an ear infection. And I think they need to go get their ears checked. They also have some speech and language challenges, so they cannot afford not to be able to hear. Hearing is a key to their success in school and in their relationships. Okay, it is for everyone, but they both have hearing challenges, so that's something we really take care of. Now, mom might want to watch it for a couple days. She's much less likely to run to the doctor than I am. So I wait. I have to take a beat. I have to zip my lips, shut my yapper, as my mother-in-law used to say, and give her space to decide when she wants to take her kid to the doctor. And when I come around, let's say a couple days have passed, the child is still saying to me, "Oh, my ear hurts when I chew." I can go back to mom and say, grandchild A is still saying they've got a sore ear. Is there anything I can do to help get them to the doctor? I mean, I'm happy to drive them if there aren't any evening appointments available. Remind her, offer to help find a solution, and in a neutral way. This is one of my greatest challenges because I just want to whisk the kid off to the doctor. When I still cross that line, when I still lose track of myself and say something more direct like, "Why hasn't he gone to the doctor yet? Did they not have appointments?" That's too much. I cross the line. I'm not being respectful of the mom's role or the dad's role as the decision maker. They don't even have to set that boundary. I know that. I know as a parent of 30-some years and watching other parents and listening to my friends and other parents, I know that it is not my role to make that decision for them. I don't get to make an excuse and step over them. When I lose track of that and I'm not being respectful of that boundary, I have to catch myself, take responsibility, hold myself accountable. So that looks more like, you must not have had time to get child A to the doctor. I'm kind of surprised because we all know how important that is. Catch myself. Wait, let me redo that. I know that was too much. I'm concerned, as I know you are, about his hearing. I just want to be helpful in any way I can. Please know I'm here to drive or help in any way. Period. I've got to back myself up, take responsibility, and redo. That is one of the strongest tools we can have in communication with our adult children. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to cross lines. We're going to push boundaries. So are they. So how do we give them grace, acknowledge what's happened on their end, not point a finger, not get hysterical, not catastrophize, acknowledge their humanity and listen when they catch themselves and they apologize, right? That's the mutuality of that. Okay, so we're talking about this shift from birth up through maybe mid-high schoolish, when our children start evolving into young adulthood, and our parenting needs to mature and grow with them. It needs to evolve with them. Many of our helicopter parents, and I'm owning that, I'm one of them, did not make that transition. And that's where we got stuck. That's where the downfall started. We need to make that transition as they do to maintain that relationship while we move from being power-based parents where we're telling, instructing, setting rules, holding people accountable, into a more influential, into the yin and yang of adult child parenting, that parent-partner role. So let's look at the yin and yang balances as they shift. So in childhood, the yin is high emotional support, the yang, clear rules and guidance. In adolescence, the yin looks more like empathy, space for independence, allowing our children to fail, to miss a test because they didn't study, or get a bad grade because they didn't study. The yang is that the boundaries are negotiated with autonomy. So, at the end of the year, here's what you're going to need in order to be considered by these colleges. These other colleges might accept these grades. Just know if you miss these grades, your choices get slimmer. You're not going to be able to make the choices you could make if you have strong grades. And then we have to let it go. Or we have to coach and encourage and influence. The power position in that has been stated. The boundary has been stated. And then we have to start letting go of that. In early adulthood, the yin looks like emotional availability, trust. Trust that they're going to ask if they need something. You can even say it. Looks like things are getting pretty complicated in your life. I hear there's a lot of stress. I hear it in your voice. I can see it on your face. I just want you to know I'm here for you. Whatever I can do. If you just want me to listen, I'll listen. If you want me to give input, I'll give input. You drive the ship here, and then you have to stick to it. That's how you build trust. It's the sticking to it where the trust is built. The yang of that early adulthood is occasional advice and fewer rules. So that might look like, that happened in my life too, or I've experienced that. I know how that feels. It doesn't feel very good. Period. Zip it. That is your emotional support. Now, if they go on and say, I just don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. You can clarify. Are you asking for my input or is that just kind of a rhetorical question? They'll answer you and you follow their lead. If they're saying, no, I'd love to hear your opinion, then share your opinion. Share it with respect. Share it as adult to adult, from one adult to another, and as you would to your best friend. Use tact, use some humor maybe, no cynicism or sarcasm. But on occasion when they ask, give them a little advice. Fewer rules. I have rules in my house. I know when I go to my daughter's house, different rules. And I need to make that shift for my grandchildren. My rules don't go over there. I don't get to apply them just because I'm in their home. That is how I respect my daughter. Now, a mature adult relationship, that's mutual respect. We've been talking about that. A deeper connection, that's your yin. The yang is equal footing, adult to adult dialogue. Adult to adult dialogue, as you would any adult in your life. That is the yin and yang of power and parenting for our adult children. We're balanced. We have complementary forces. We're in it together. We're ride or die. And we complement each other's energies. If my son or daughter are feeling overwhelmed, they're tired, life has added up for them, I know I can step in and offer more. I don't step over them. I offer more. When I'm feeling that way, I know, I feel that they step in for me. Mom, that's awful. Is there anything I can do? That's the balance. And I'm here to tell you, it's taken 11 years of hard work. Finding balance in yin and yang with your adult children is phenomenal. It isn't easy. It comes and goes, and we all make mistakes. So again, we have to find grace and the humanity in our adult children and our relationship. If you're still asking yourself why this matters, why are we talking about the yin and yang of parenting adult children? I want to reiterate this for you. Too much yin, being overly permissive, lack of boundaries, lack of limits, leads to chaos. It leads to us getting taken advantage of, whether it's about money, childcare, living in the house with us. Too much yin leads to chaos. Too much yang is authoritarian. Authoritarian parenting with adult children is a get-out-of-jail-free card to estrangement. We are not the authorities in their lives. We need to let go of that. We need to move past that and find our balance in yin and yang. Our parenting power is healthiest when it's not about control. It's about connection. It's about guiding, loving, and leadership, modeling. I still model for my children, and I try not to get too casual. I might tell jokes with my friends that I don't tell with my children. I might behave in a certain way with my friends that I don't with my children. Now, I'm not a prude. I have a good time, like most of us enjoy doing. Fill in the blank of what that looks like for you. But there are boundaries of what I bring into my relationship with my children, just like they have boundaries with me. They don't tell me the raw details of their dates. They don't tell me the raw details of what's going on at work. I know generally they tell me the stories, but I don't know the intricate details. I don't need to. It's not my place unless they want me to. I want to thank you for tuning into this episode. It's kind of emotional. It's requiring ourselves, and it is doing the work to move from parenting young adults to parenting collaboratively relating to our adult children. It's tough work. Now, for many of you, maybe it came easily. Maybe this was never your issue. When I talk to people, there's typically some level of shift that has not happened. That has not happened. If this applies in your life, in your circumstances, I want to encourage you to go listen to the episode on jealousy. I want you to start listening to the episodes on power, influence, gaslighting. These are key elements of estrangement. The research coming out where we're studying our adult children who have estranged, some who've come back, some who are still completely no contact, what we're hearing from them is that these are key elements of their decision to walk away. Respect, trust, mutuality, boundaries. Those are the keystones to what they will consider, what they tell us they want in a healthy relationship. We can do those things. We can find our way to that. We didn't know we were supposed to for a long time, right? Nobody told us. Society is changing. That doesn't mean we're not obligated now. That is not an excuse. That is no longer going to be enough for our adult children. So again, I'm so glad that you listened in. I'm so glad you took the time to listen to this episode. I hope that you will join other episodes in the future. There are episodes that require membership, that you need to be a subscribing member. There are plenty of episodes that you don't. I encourage you to subscribe because we take a deeper dive into some of these conversations, some of these topics, and we talk about things that are a little bit more sensitive or difficult to talk about. So again, thanks for logging in, listening, and for trusting me. I appreciate the trust that you place in me. Send me messages. I love to hear from you. Email janet@jesteinkamp.com or go over to the When Our Adult Children Walk Away website. There's a feature on there where you can just send me a direct message. I do respond to messages in email. Might take me 3 days to do it. If that's the case, if 3 days have passed and you've not heard from me, please reach out again. It means that something has gone wrong in the communication. It's either sitting in a spam box, a junk box, got turned away by the firewall. Something has happened, okay? So again, remember, you are not alone in this. I'm going to ask you to be brave. I want you to keep doing your work. Be kind to yourself and stay hopeful. Hold on to the hope. I'm right here with you, here when you need me. Let me know how I can help.